defeat professional fullback MXGP of Lombardia, round 11 of the FI Motocross World Championship. We got underway with the MX2 qualifying race. Thomas Covington emerged out of turn 1 into turn 2 at the head of the field on his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, pursued by the 41 and the 61, the two Red Bull KTMs of Prado and Jonas. Ika Larinaga made a great start, so too did Ben Watson on the Hitachi Construct Furniture Group KTM. But over on the first lap, Anthony Rodriguez on the HRC Honda, and the other side of the jump, Jeremy Seawer and Alvin Osland crashed out spectacularly over one of the jumps. Rodriguez would eventually pull out as Prado crashed out of third just at the start of lap 2. He would remount in 18th, but eventually come home in 18th despite going up and down a few positions in the process. It was a hot weekend here in Lombardia. Thomas Kjær Olsen made a decent start, but then he started to home in on the number 19, on the number 919 of Ben Watson on his Hitachi Contract Furniture Group KTM. Further up the field, Benoit Paturel was having a fight through on his Khmer Yamaha. He started in 11th, but was quickly carving his way through. Got himself into 7th, and then went after the riders ahead of him, like Brian Bogas. Ben Watson got caught napping. Thomas Kjær Olsen charged through on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, went through to 3rd on lap 4. Brian Bogas on the HSF Logistics Motorsport KTM came under the watchful attention of Benoit Paturel as they fought over 6th place. Eventually Paturel would go through, and he would go on to finish in that 5th position. Found his way past Ika Larinaga in the second half of the race. Brian Bogas came home in 7th. Julian Lieber charged through, but despite getting onto the rear wheel of Brian Bogas and getting himself into 8th at that moment in the race, eventually fell back to 11th. Benoit Paturel, though, in the closing stage of the race, tried on several occasions to force Watson into making a mistake as he challenged him for 4th, but it just didn't happen. Thomas Covington came home victorious in the qualifying race for the 2nd time this year. Paul Jonas was 2nd. Thomas Kjær Olsen 3rd. Ben Watson crossed the line 4th. Benoit Paturel was 5th, and it was Jeremy Seawer, Brian Bogas, Bas Varsen, Ika Larinaga, and Conrad Muse.
Yeah, it was brutal. It's really hot out here, you know. I was used to it when I was a kid, but I hadn't been training at home in about 5 years now, so it hit me a little harder than I expected it would, and the track's just really heavy too, so that makes it a little bit worse, but I'm loving it. Just got out to a good start. The bike's running great, and I'm happy to go into tomorrow like this.
In the MXGP qualifying race, over on the far side, Tony Cairoli and Gauthier Paulin both got squeezed going in, but on the outside of the turn, several riders fell in a big pileup, including the 24, back from injury on the Wilvo MXGP Yamaha, Sean Simpson, Roman Fevre. Also in there was the number 77 of Lupino, and over on that far side, holding his left arm, Sean Simpson. Hopefully he will be okay, but the initial reports maybe don't look too good. Up front, though, it was number 12, Max Nagel, who led the way for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. Tim Geiser was in there in 2nd and carving his way through after getting caught. Up the inside in that first turn was Tony Cairoli, who went into this particular corner just behind Commander Sal and came out, but ahead of him, went from 9th to 8th, and then went after his teammate Glenn Koldenoff on that Red Bull KTM in red. That move put him into 7th as he charged. That was the only mistake that Cairoli made, though. Got that 7th place secured, and then went after this group of riders here that was headed up by Geiser, with Anstey in there, and also the number 4 of Tonus. Cairoli capitalized on a mistake in this right-hander, found his way past Tonus, and then went after Anstey. Gauthier Paulin crashed out spectacularly over one of the jumps on the infield section. He was in 13th at the time. He remounted in 20th, eventually came home in 18th. He will start next to the box in Moto number 1. Up front, Arminas Jasikonis, Suzuki World MXGP, was slowly chipping away at Max Nagel's lead, found his way into the lead on lap 7, but it was bad news for Jeffrey Hurlings. The Bullet got himself into 3rd, then was forced to retire with what looked like a front wheel malfunction. He did go back out, though, in 29th place, and came home in 20th as Tony Cairoli found his way past Max Anstey. That put him well on course for a top 3 position. Anstey then forced the issue down the inside of his teammate Max Nagel. And he charged closer towards the front as well, but 2 laps to go. Jasikonis thought he'd outfoxed Tony Cairoli. Cairoli went even tighter. He took the lead from Jasikonis. Anstey came home in 3rd and Nagel 4th and Geiser 5th. But what a win for Tony Cairoli. Did it the hard way here at home in Ottaviano, but he'll go to the line in a good mood for the main race. So Cairoli victorious, Jasikonis 2nd, Anstey, Nagel, Geiser your top 5 with Koldenhoff, Tonus and Fevre your top 8.
Yeah, you know, I had a decent start out of the gate, but then in the first corner I was too much inside and I almost crashed in contact with Polen, and yeah, I had to come from the middle pack. So I'm pretty okay because I really like the track and it's easy to pass. So it's going to be a tough race tomorrow. 10 minutes more, going to be very hot, very tough.